In eastern Ukraine, the situation has changed dramatically in recent months as the Russians have moved much closer and are destroying civilian infrastructure, the Economist writes. The publication notes that according to Ukrainian Mayor Vyacheslav Shutenko, the city of Konstantinivka is not under any real threat of falling in the near future. At the same time, the gradual advance of Russian occupiers means that neighboring Druzhkivka is also coming under increased shelling. A 20-hour curfew has been in effect in the town since October the 6th. Also, part of the main road to Izyum has become vulnerable to drone attacks, so traffic has been diverted to bypass roads. However, according to the publication, despite these successes, the Russian army is facing inevitable defeat. In August, their constant reconnaissance attacks revealed a weak spot in Ukraine's defenses near Dobropillia, 20 kilometers north of Pokrovsk. The Russian occupiers managed to break through the Ukrainian armed forces' defenses, advancing more than 13 kilometers in just a few days. This was faster than their logistical, unmanned and other units could keep up. As the publication points out, if the new salient had been secured, they could have turned around and encircled Pokrovsk. However, the Ukrainian military managed to halt the Russian advance, and now the occupiers are surrounded. Cases of mass surrenders are also recorded on the eastern Ukrainian front. According to Lieutenant Colonel Arsen Lemko Dimitrik of the Azov Brigade of the Ukrainian National Guard, the Russians have lost approximately 10,000 soldiers in this battle since August. However, the article states that this figure cannot be verified. The Ukrainian military officer also declined to disclose Ukraine's losses, only noting that they were significantly lower than Russia's. The military man added that this battle was an example of good coordination involving dozens of units. In the past, poor coordination had been blamed for the country's losses. The article also notes that, according to Lemko, the Russians have lost 50 tanks and armored vehicles in the past week. He added that the number of Russian occupiers in the area has dwindled from hundreds a month ago to less than 100 today. Since the Russians are surrounded, the Ukrainian defender predicts they won't hold out for long. The publication notes that while the bloody battle continues along the entire front line on the military front, certain shifts have occurred on the diplomatic front. Specifically on October the 16th, US President Donald Trump and Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin spoke by phone and agreed to meet in Budapest within a few weeks. Trump called the call productive, but provided no details to indicate that the upcoming talks would yield more results than the previous meeting.
A cargo aircraft skidded off a Hong Kong runway and collided with a security patrol car before both fell into the sea early Monday, killing the 2 people in the car, authorities said. According to Associated Press, the plane's 4 crew members were unhurt. The Boeing 747, flown by Turkey-based ACT Airlines, was landing at Hong Kong International Airport around 3:50 a.m. on arrival from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The aircraft was being operated under lease by Emirates, a long-haul carrier based in Dubai. The captains did not seek help before landing and had taxied about halfway down the runway before skidding off it to the left, Stephen Yu, the airport authority's executive director in airport operations, said during a press conference. The patrol car absolutely did not rush onto the runway. It was the plane that went off the runway and crashed into the patrol car outside the fence, he said. When rescue crews arrived, the plane was broken into 2 parts, floating in the sea, and the 4 crew members were waiting to be rescued at its open door, said a fire services official. The 4 crew members had no apparent injuries. Rescuers dove into the sea and found the 2 security workers trapped in the car after a 40-minute search. Local television images at mid-morning showed the aircraft partially submerged just off the edge of the airport's seawall. The aircraft's front half and cockpit were visible above water, but the tail end appearing to have broken off. 2 boats, possibly with search and rescue personnel, were near the aircraft. The crash occurred on the north runway of Hong Kong's airport, one of Asia's busiest. That runway remained closed, while the 2 other runways at the airport continue to operate. Stephen Yu said flights at the airport would be unaffected. Weather was suitable at the time the plane landed and the cause of the crash was being investigated, he said. The Air Accident Investigation Authority classified the case as an accident, with the investigation to look into multiple factors, including the flight system, operation, and maintenance. The cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder were being sought. Emirates said the Boeing 747 freighter flying as EK-9788 was wet leased and operated by ACT Airlines. In wet leases, the company supplying the plane also provides the crew, maintenance and insurance. Emirates said there was no cargo on board. The aircraft was 32 years old, according to Flight Radar 24. Hong Kong International Airport was built on reclaimed land by merging 2 smaller islands north of Hong Kong's Lantau Island in the South China Sea, at the mouth of the Pearl River. The edge of the north runway lies only a few hundred meters from the water, while the other 2 runways are even closer.
Around 4 a.m. this morning, a cargo aircraft, flight UAE 9788, departing from Dubai to Hong Kong, went off from the rough runway. Upon landing, and crashed through the fencing and into the sea. Unfortunately, an airport security patrol car was there at that time. The aircraft collided with the patrol car and pushed the car into the sea. 4 aircraft crews on board and quickly rescued by Fire Service Department. Fire Service Department also rescued 2 security staff from the sea. One was certified dead at the hospital and other certified dead at the sea.